and you will notice that the internal geometry of the hatch will no longer be interfering with the trim operation. But for those of you who would like the internal geometry of the hatch to interfere with the operation, it is possible. You can change the variable trim edges to 0 and re-execute the trim command, and you will notice that I'm no longer able to delete the green line, the entire green line that is covering, that is crossing over the hatch, and I'm only able to delete portions of the green line that is in between the hatch lines. This is because the internal geometry of the hatch are now cutting edges. Yeah. So let me just put it back to the default setting. And that's about it for trim and extend. For those of you who still prefer the legacy version of trim and extend, it is still possible to revert back. You can do so by executing the trim extend mode variable and change it to 0. Re-execute the trim command, and you will notice that the command line will prompt you to select objects, similar to how it was in previous versions. Yep, so that's it for the streamline trim and extend feature that we have in 2021. I hope the quick mode option will be helpful to all of you to save some steps during your drafting. So next, we have revision cloud enhancements. So previously in older versions, it is often that we specify maximum and minimum arc length when creating a revision cloud. Now in Autocad, we will have a single value for the approximated arc chord length, and the initial size of the arcs will be determined based on the diagonal length of the current view you are in. And this helps to ensure that the revision cloud starts at a reasonable start. So let's take a look at this enhancement in 2021. So let me shift over to the revision cloud segment I have over here. And so yeah, I have an object right here, and I want to create a revision cloud around it. So in order to execute the revision cloud function, I can do so in the draw panel right here, or I can execute the ref cloud command. Click on the first point and the second point, and the revision cloud will appear. You will notice that when I do so, there will be a minimum arc length and maximum arc length value that is stated in the command line. And when I click on the revision cloud, you will notice in the properties panel, there is a new object type titled ref cloud. And previously in older versions, revision clouds are actually polylines. So starting from 2021, we have a new object type, ref cloud. And this is especially useful for those who use functions like quick select. And when I click on the revision cloud, you will notice. So now ref cloud is an object type, so you'll be able to use quick select to easily select all revision cloud objects in the drawing. And if you also notice, for revision cloud, there is a new property called arc length right here. So if you find that the arc length for the ref cloud now is a bit too large, you can change the value to a smaller value, and the arc length of the cloud will reduce accordingly. The arc length variable can be specified when you first execute the command right here, or you can execute the command right here, and it is also modifiable after you create the ref cloud. It is modifiable via the properties panel right here, or you can change it via the shortcut menu, or you can do it via the ref cloud properties command. Run the command, select the ref cloud that you want to modify, and the arc length property will appear, and you can change it accordingly. Yep, so that is it for Revision Cloud enhancements. I hope the changes have made Ref Clouds a more useful and easy feature to use for your drafting. And the next enhancement that we will be talking about is on measure geometry, quick measure. Quick measure is a feature that was introduced in 2020, but there has been a small enhancement to the quick measure feature, which would be extremely beneficial to all of you. The quick measure option of the measure geom command now supports area and perimeter measurements within a space enclosed by geometric objects. So in order to use this feature, users simply need to click in the enclosed area to display the calculated values. So to demonstrate this in Autocad, let's move to our measure geom section right here. And to execute the quick measure feature, we can click on measure under the utilities panel, select quick, and if I hover over any geometry objects in the drawing, you will notice that values for distance, length, angles, radius will all appear. And this feature is already introduced in 2020, but the enhancement that we have in 2021 would be the area and perimeter calculation. So if I hover over any enclosed geometric object and I click on it, Autocad will give me the area and perimeter values for the enclosed area, which is determined in green. I'm also able to shift-click multiple areas, and Autocad will give me the cumulated value for area and perimeter. And one cool thing is that it also appears in the command line right here for future references. And if, let's say, I do not want a specific area, I can hold on to the shift key and deselect it, and Autocad will give me the values accordingly, which is pretty cool and really beneficial. I do know of some users who calculate areas using hatches. In 2021, this is no longer necessary with this new feature. So that is all for measure geometry quick measure. Moving on, we have our next big topic, which will be on drawing history. So drawing history is Autocad 2021's new core functionality for active subscribers. When drawing files are saved to a cloud storage location, versions of your drawing files will be created as you work, creating a version history that allows you to compare your drawing with previous versions. So if you have ever faced a situation where you want to check or track the changes that you have made to a specific drawing, but feeling frustrated that you are unable to do so, if yes, then drawing history will be able to help you do just that. So drawing history support is only available when files are saved to a cloud storage location. As you work and save your drawing, versions of your drawing will be created in the cloud storage location and shown in the new drawing history palette, which looks something similar to this on the right here. This feature is supported on Autocad vertical toolsets as well. And to open the drawing history palette, it is accessible via the ribbon or via the drawing history command, which I will show later. Also, in order to use the drawing history feature, it is necessary for users to sign in into their Autodesk account. And supported storage providers include OneDrive, Dropbox, Box, and Google Drive. But do take note that the version history capability differs depending on the provider itself. Providers are the ones who decide how the versions are created, the number of versions stored, and when the versions will expire. So take for example, OneDrive only saves a version of the drawing after the drawing has been saved and closed in Autocad, but other providers such as Dropbox will create a version with every save that you make. So capabilities differ depending on the storage provider and the kind of options that they provide. So please take note. So without further ado, let's take a look at the feature in Autocad. So currently, I have my demonstration drawing open, and to open the drawing history palette, I can do so via the View tab, and clicking on the drawing history button right here, or I can execute DWG history command and enter, and you will notice that the drawing history palette will appear right here. So currently my demonstration drawing is saved on my personal OneDrive account, and I have already signed into my Autodesk account, as you can see here. And I've also signed into my OneDrive account, which is why the version history is listed accordingly in my palette right here. But for first-time users of Autocad 2021, the drawing history palette will not automatically show you the version history of your files, even if you open a drawing file from your cloud storage. Instead, the drawing history palette will show a prompt for you to sign in Autodesk account on the right here. And once you have signed into your Autodesk account, a notification will appear at the bottom of Autocad if you access a drawing saved in your cloud storage location, be it Dropbox, Box, OneDrive, etc. So let's say if you open a drawing file saved in your Dropbox account, a notification like this will prompt you to sign into your Dropbox account. And once you have signed in, the palette will actually display a list of previous versions, like how you see on my screen right now. So two things you will need to ensure would be you need to sign into your Autodesk account, and you would also need to sign into your cloud storage provider in order for you to be able to see your drawing history. And if we take a look at the drawing history palette right here, you will notice that it has some nice functionality. It is able to filter by date. It is also able to filter by user, and it is also able to filter by time. There are increments of 1 hour, 4 hours, 24 hours, 48 hours, and so on and so forth. Yeah, and these filters are extremely useful, especially if your drawing is modified by various members in the team, and especially when there is a whole list of versions available and you're not too sure which to look at. So having these filtering functions are extremely beneficial. And one cool thing about drawing history is that if you hover over any of your previous versions, you will notice that there is a button that appears on the right, and it is a compare feature. So let's say if I want to compare my current drawing with any previous version, I can do so by clicking on this button. And once I click on it, Autocad will trigger the drawing compare feature that is already available. And you will notice that you can see objects are being labeled in green and red, and if I hover over any of them, it will give me some metadata on the objects itself. So green objects are objects that are only available in my current drawing. Red objects are available in my old drawing. So from here, I'm able to know what are the differences that have been made, or the modifications that have been made in this drawing itself. And like how drawing compare feature works, I'm able to cycle through each of the modifications. I'm also able to import the objects and create a snapshot of the differences that I have and I see here. Yeah, so pretty cool. If I do not want to make any changes, I can simply click on the check mark button and I am back to square one. Yeah. So being able to view past changes can actually provide interesting insights on the evolution of your work, and being able to compare drawings makes changes more transparent within a theme. I believe many of you will be able to benefit from this new feature, so please do give it a try. And back to our presentation. However, there are a few limitations with drawing history, which I would like to highlight. Drawing history support is only available for subscription users, maintenance users, or users using Autocad from suites will not be able to enjoy this feature. Dropbox is currently supported on paid personal accounts, but not on professional accounts, though there might be changes to this in future. And as mentioned earlier, capabilities will differ depending on the cloud storage provider. Please refer to the document help link provided in the slides to learn more. And last but not least, drawing history entitlement also needs to be assigned in your Autodesk account. To check, you can log into your Autodesk account and see if the Autocad drawing history entitlement is shown. If you are on subscription license and you do not see this entitlement, please reach out to your contract administrator to provide access for this. Without this entitlement, the drawing history palette will show that you are not assigned access, like in the picture on the right here. And that's it for drawing history. Next, moving on. XREF Compare. So on top of version history compare that we have seen earlier, we have also leveraged on the drawing compare feature for external references. It is now possible to view changes made in the external references without having to leave your current drawing. So like drawing compare, XREF Compare will be able to show you the differences and modifications made in your XREF, and it is shown using revision clouds. So let's take a look at this in Autocad. So in my current demonstration drawing right here, let me open my external references palette. And you see here I have reference drawing called Hatch, DWG. So let me open Hatch using Revision and make some modifications to it. So let's take a look at this in Autocad. I have, so in a square here, let me just delete this, make a save, close. And when I do so, when I'm back to my current drawing, you will notice that a small little bubble notification at the bottom will actually appear. And it will prompt me to reload the external reference that I have. And there is also a checkbox saying compare the changes. So when I check this checkbox and click on it, Autocad will enable the drawing compare feature. And you will notice that I'm now able to see the modifications made to my external reference within my drawing itself. So the difference right now would be the square object here that I have deleted, and it is now shown in red because it is no longer available in my current external reference. So this, so XREF Compare actually allows me to know what exactly the modifications were made to my external references. And I can also cycle through each and every modification, like how we can do so in drawing compare. But you will notice that we are not able to import the objects to the drawing file itself, simply because it is XREF comparison. External references are not supposed to interfere with your drawing, which is why that feature is not included. So after taking a look at the differences, and I can click on the check mark button to close, and I'm back to my current drawing. So all of that is happening in my current drawing, so I do not need to reopen the external references to know what modifications have been made. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, and that's about it for XREF Compare. I hope that will be useful during your drafting work as well. And next we have graphics performance improvements. So like previous releases, graphics performance has been improved in Autocad 2021. The speed of panning and zooming in 2D has been enhanced. And when panning and zooming in 2D, AutoCAD will automatically perform a regeneration operation for faster and smoother experience by taking advantage of different objects with similar properties to optimize the graphics. And you might also notice that 3D orbit, pan, zoom operations will also be more responsive, especially for complex 3D models due to multi-core processor support. The changes will probably be most noticeable if you have complex 3D models using visual styles and rendered curved surfaces. Yeah, so hope the improvements so far have been extremely beneficial to all of you. Now I'll pass my time on to Sophia, who will touch on the remaining new features. Sophia, please.
Hi everyone, thanks Sheen. I think those features look great and then I'm looking forward to using them. Hi, my name is Sophia. I'll take over from here and I will present about block palette enhancement in an AutoCAD web and mobile. The block palette feature introduced last release has been improved to provide more convenient access to blocks anytime and anywhere. Use your Autodesk account with a supported cloud storage provider such as Box, Dropbox, or Microsoft OneDrive to get quick and anytime access to your recent blocks and then block library drawings. Let's go to the next page. The block library is a new feature to this block palette. It is the other drawing tab of the block palette before, and it has been renamed to the library tabs. So you can now specify a folder, a drawing file, or any block definition stored in a drawing to insert as a block in a current drawing. The libraries tab includes a drop-down list that displays the 5 most recent used block libraries for faster access, and it can be either folders or drawing files. If you choose a block library in a cloud storage location, you can use the same blocks on a AutoCAD web app too. Let me show you in AutoCAD 2021. So now you're in AutoCAD 2021. To go to the block palette, you go to Insert, click on Insert icon, and then choose Block from Libraries. Then you'll see the block palette like this, and you see that before it was the other drawings, now it changes the libraries. And you see this is new list here. If you click on it, you will see all those recent drawings and then folders that you have just used. And if you want to browse the drawings or folders, you can click on the browse block libraries here like this. Also, you can click on the icon, the next, the list. So this is more convenient to access all those folders in the libraries to load any blocks. In AutoCAD 2021, when choosing folders for block libraries like the previous one and the recent blocks, it is recommended to use folders located within a supported cloud storage provider like Block, Dropbox, and Microsoft, as I said, to get quick and anytime access to your recent blocks and the block library drawings. Although you can specify any folder location, blocks will only be accessible across devices in the AutoCAD web app if you use cloud storage with the same AutoCAD account. So let me tell you how you can use this cloud storage more efficiently by specifying a default location to synchronize the recent blocks and libraries. There's a new path setting from option Files tab called block recent folder location. What you need to do is just choose a folder that is cloud storage location. Then you can sync the recent blocks in a drawing from Autocad desktop on the Autocad to the Autocad web app. Let me show you how it works. So you are now seeing all those blocks from the other drawings. Let me go to another drawing. Then I have a lot of chair blocks here. And if you drag and drop to the drawing, this chair A10, for example, then it will go into the recent blocks, right? And this recent blocks that you have just inserted to the drawing is it'll be loaded in the cloud. If you check on the right side here, it says the block has been uploaded, so the OneDrive is up to date. So let's go to. Sorry, let me just how it works. Sorry, before you have to do this, you have to set the file location first, right? So as I said, you have to go to Option, and in the File tab, you have to look for block recent folder location, and under the block recent folder location, it's supposed to be aiming for the local drive support folder previously, but I changed into the OneDrive location, which is in OneDrive. I created a ACAD web feature sample folder. And you can also create new one to change the block folder later, but I use this one, and then I made it open. Then it will set to the cloud storage location, and you apply and OK. Then it is connected to the OneDrive and also Autocad web now. So as I did, this block has been added to the recent tab, and it's added to the OneDrive. So if you go to the OneDrive, I already logged in, but you guys can log it later. If you go to the ACAD web feature samples that I have prepared, and it will create the recent blocks folder and then blocks metadata folder at the same time. And if you go to the recent blocks, you will see the chair A10 that I just added has been uploaded to your OneDrive. So now, if you want to go to the Autocad web, I already have logged in, but you can always just type web.autocad.com. Then you can log in with the Autodesk account, and you can come to this page. This is so let's go to OneDrive and see if you can see the blocks that is loading. Just create any test drawing from the AutoCAD web. Open, and you see in the block kind of on the left side, and there's nothing there. But if you click on refresh button next to the recent, it will refresh, and then now here you see the chair A10 I just uploaded from desktop AutoCAD. That's how it works. So that was how to synchronize blocks and then drawings through the cloud